Van Wallach, recently moved to Reading, so that's part of this. So there's something about me that draws people to want to talk to me. They can't wait to tell me their obsessions and life stories. Whether I respond doesn't matter so much as whether I'm just there to listen. They don't realize that even though I may look like a bald Jewish therapist, I'm not. But they see me that way. So these encounters typically take place on public transit or places where I can't easily get away. The topics can range from scary to engaging. Once I had an elderly woman on Park Avenue grab me by the arm and say, "Help me across the street." So I did. So that charmed me. And I also like to help tourists when I can tell when they're befuddled with the subway map. This is when I lived in New York. So usually I'll listen because the world is full of lonely people who sometimes just want to get something off their chest. And if they want to connect for 30 minutes on the train, I'm up for that. You never know where a chat will go. And sometimes we even exchange business cards. But sometimes these connections can turn ominous. When I lived in New York, I commuted from the suburbs into Grand Central, and once I was coming back, and I was facing seats on the train, and the man across from me was obviously in a really bad mood, and he started grousing about the impact of the 2008 recession on real estate prices and his theories why the suburban schools' performance were getting so bad that he had to put his kids into a private school. So I could tell what was going on, so I was politely kind of not responding. And he finally got all puffy and he said, "Well, I can see you don't want to talk, so go ahead and just read your book." And he was quiet for a little bit, and then he kind of started in again, and for another station or two. And finally, he kind of got the message, and I didn't answer anything about who am I, what did I do, etc. My great fear is that we would both park at the same train station and that we would be parked next to each other and that he would go follow me and kind of ranting and raving the whole time. But fortunately, he got off in White Plains, if you know New York geography and all. And I never saw him again, fortunately. And then there was the time I was on a tour bus in Israel, and you never know what's going to happen when you're in another country. And Naomi, my videographer and partner, and I were on a bus on a tour, and a man in front of me used the oldest gambit in the book. He asked me what time it was, which I should know from experience not to respond to, but it took me off guard and I answered. And then he started talking, what do you hear? He was from Italy. He originally moved to Australia, and he was in Israel touring around, and pretty soon he was talking about the apocalypse and the book of Revelation and the end times, and he said, "So, sir, what is your religion?" And I knew this wasn't anything I wanted to engage in at all. So I said, "Look, I'm just not going to answer that, and I'm going to just read my book. It's always good to have a book with you."
Oh, yeah.
So that kind of shut him up.
You know what the answer to that question is? What time is it? It's time for you to buy a watch, sir.
Yeah, good point. For all I know, maybe but now sometimes a conversation will catch my attention because I am empathetic, and if somebody wants to talk, spend 30 minutes on the train talking, that's one thing. And the one thing that always gets conversations going, my camera. Men, and it's always men, for some reason really respond to my Sony A5000 because it's got kind of a retro look, and they're really into technology and they want to talk about cameras. And that's great because I like to talk about cameras too. So this is kind of a conversation starter. So the fun thing is that Naomi and I moved to Reading from Katona, New York back in April. And literally the first moments after I moved here, when I was still in the garage, I was talking to my neighbors in the Postmark building down the street.
Oh.
And they're very, very, I found suddenly people in Massachusetts very friendly. And they have plenty of time. They got great guidance on resources around here and just being neighborly. In fact, we were at a condo meeting for the shareholders a couple of weeks ago. And I was really charmed. We were kind of sitting on couches like this in the community room. And I was talking with three of the residents, and they're all talking, "Well, I've got 6 grandchildren, I've got 8 grandchildren, I've got 10 grandchildren." This is wow, they're very productive around here. And so, in fact, one of them invited us up to tour her apartment. And we said, sure. And we spent like, 15, 20 minutes like looking around and the view and the furniture, and it was really great. And I'm finding that people in this area just like to strike up conversations. I've had that happen on Haven Street. I've had it happen in parking lots. And we were at the Cultural Festival in Marblehead a couple of weeks ago, and that was really nice. And we were kind of walking down the street, and a woman just kind of sidles up to her and starts talking about the weather and the festival. And she was talking, she mentioned that she lived part of the year in Morocco. And because I'm a writer and a conversationalist, I thought, she wants me to ask her about Morocco. And so I said, what do you do in Morocco? And she told us, and she had relatives there, and she likes the climate and whatever it was, but it was fun. And I think she enjoyed it, and we liked hearing it also. And then the same day we got a lobster roll at, I think, St. Michael's Church in Marblehead, because they have like this whole big fundraiser. And so we got a lobster roll, and we're sitting on like a big round table, and we're talking to the people who were sitting there. Said we just moved here, and we said, oh, we really like going to Bunratty's restaurant in Reading. And I said, man said, oh, I'm friends with the owner. I know the place really well. Tell him that like JK or whatever his initials are, was there, and say hello for me. And I said, great. Well, I forgot his name, but so I guess the favorite so far example of how friendly people are here. I was crossing a couple of Saturdays ago evening. I was walking, and I was crossing the Reading Cooperative Bank lot, where the ATM is, and I saw a woman park, and she got out. She was kind of nicely dressed up, and she started walking toward the postmark building. And she got there, and she got in, but she was trying to get in, and I said, can I help you? Can I let you in with my card? She said, I'm looking for the restaurant. She was looking for the postmark 1917.
Yeah.
And I told her, I said, well, this isn't it. And some people, the signage is not that good, and I said, let me just walk you over there. It's easier than trying to describe it. She says, thank you very much. And so we were walking over there, and we were chatting a little bit, and she put her arm through my arm and said, aren't you the gentleman? I said, I'm happy to help. I mean, it's not that easy to find. So we got there, and I held the door open, I walked her in, and she was very happy. I don't know what she was planning on doing there. And she said, could I buy you a drink? And I said, thank you, but I need to get home. But I think the only thing, if I'd only had common sense, I would have given her a business card and said, what you can do is go like my YouTube channel, where I put all my videos on. So, maybe I'll be seeing her around town, next big event of the postmark. So that's my message. It's great to be here. And Massachusetts, where the natives are friendly. So that's what I did. That's it.
Yep.
Sounds good. Well, thank you. All right.
When I was in New York, somebody talked to me on the street, I'm
Yeah, New Yorkers can be tough, but if you're in trouble, if you need something, they are there.
oh yeah.
And they don't care who you are.
Yeah.
They're there and they will help you. But if you're not in trouble, you don't exist, and you better get the fuck out of the way.
Yeah. No, I mean,
That's New York.
people are people.